So, ladies and gentlemen, for those who have not been living under a rock, or for those who have been living under a rock, started off the video terribly. But Chris Paul was cut last night, 2 nights ago, from when this video has been posted. And I want to share my thoughts about it, but why not just react to a video? I've been at work all day. So instead of making my own video, let's just react to others people's videos. Let's do that. Let's do that. We got Kenny Beecham here. He's going to be talking about the Chris Paul releasing. Obviously, we know Kenny Beecham is a Chris Paul stan. So let's get right into it. And I'm going to be sharing my thoughts as the video goes along.
They sent my go home, y'all. They sent them home out of nowhere. This is weird, man. This is weird because this is the first big piece of NBA news that I wasn't awake for. I was awake when Kawhi got traded there. I was awake for the Luka Doncic thing pretty much every other time. But this is the one time I was asleep, man. I feel like Whip Chatterley. I just never really sleep. And then the one time we got news about my GOAT, I wasn't there. So imagine my surprise when I wake up. You know, I don't traditionally check my phone immediately. I got hit with a flashbang of so many different notifications like, oh, Kenny not going to feel good when he woke up. And I don't feel good because I may have seen the last game of my GOAT's career. This is crazy. Now, it's been a few hours. I was patiently waiting for more information, and we finally got some. So let's break it down and talk about it. So first, we got this from Lou Will, who's obviously still tapped in with the organization after playing there for so many years. I got this at 1.5 speed because he was taking his time with it. But let's listen to what Lou Will had to say.
Yeah, just talking to a few different people over there and just trying to understand what transpired in the early morning hours of this team being in Atlanta.
If y'all can hear me
But
drinking,
from
I
what I've
apologize.
gathered, that brought an end to this abruptly was there was a few scenarios, and which CP was holding people accountable from from players to staff, from coaching staff up to the front office, and from what I understand, there was a situation where he even addressed the team and apologized and said, look, my criticisms are coming from a good place. I want us to be a good team. I want us to get this thing right.
It's so funny because people who can't take criticism are oftenly like not doing well. And I want to say this. As a matter of fact, where do I start? The Los Angeles Clippers are never going to be a serious franchise. Never. It's never going to happen. First Blake Griffin, now Chris Paul. I don't even know what to say at this point. I don't know if you guys have seen the video. If I find it, if I feel like editing videos tonight, I'll put the clip in the video right now.
Nature of this business?
It's always been transactional. Players are held to a different standard of loyalty and commitment to a program. But the organizations don't get held to that same standard from the outside world, either whether it's from media members or fans. And we all should be held to that same standard.
Kevin Durant said when Luka Doncic got traded that, and once again, this is coming from somebody that kept from like Kevin Durant, who has received this, who's been on the bad end of this. Media, fan bases, the basketball world don't hold the same level of accountability towards front offices and owners as they do to players. We as media, we as basketball fans expect guys like Kevin Garnett to stay in Minnesota, like LeBron to stay in Cleveland, like Dame to stay in Portland. But nobody talks about the front office when they trade Luka. Well, Luka's actually the exception. But when they cut CP3 on his farewell tour, nobody talks about that. Nobody talks about how we take prime DeMarcus Cousins and don't even put a competent NBA roster around him. We don't talk about not putting superstar players around your superstar for multiple years. We don't hold front offices accountable. We don't hold ownership accountable. But how dare an NBA player want to move to another state or play for a different team because I've spent 7-8 years here and it's not working and you're not building a championship team around me. So I'm going to go somewhere that is. Now jerseys are being burned. People are burning shoes. People are booing this guy at games. People are calling his kids out his name. Nobody holds the same accountability towards the ownership, towards the general manager. And I'm going to tell you this. Maybe people should start taking more pages out of the Dallas Maverick fan base. They wanted Nico Harrison out. They got Nico Harrison out. That's my thoughts. That's my thoughts. The Clippers have been a dumpster fire since the season started. They have been a dumpster fire since the season started. They are the oldest team in the league. They're not going to be good. After the first few games, I'm trying to hold out hope like maybe this Clippers team is going to bounce back. They're going to miss the playoffs. They're probably going to miss the play-in. James Harden is probably going to request a trade. And OKC is probably going to have a top 10 pick in basketball. They're probably going to have a top 10 pick in the NBA draft. The Clippers are not good. And they're not going to be good for the next 5 to 6 years. Buckle up. Buckle up. Because it's going to be really fun to see in 2028, 2029 how those seats in the new arena are going to get filled up. It's going to be fantastic. All you Clipper fans, it's more than enough space over here in where real winners win. It's more than enough space where real basketball is played. It's more than enough space where real superstars come to play. It's more than enough space over in purple and gold. More than enough. It's more than enough. That's my thoughts. That is my thoughts on cutting CP3. And I'm not done. I'm not done. There's multiple things that we can talk about. I just dropped my mic. So if you heard that, I just knocked it over on accident. I don't know who has these Shure microphones, but they don't come with like an even stand. So if you guys hear me on the Hoop Talk podcast or in my regular videos, you're going to hear me drop my mic a lot to the point where I'm just thinking about holding it like this. Why not? Why not? Just talk with the microphone in my hand. Why not? Why not? Anyway, this will be the last time I talk about this poverty franchise. This will be the last time I talk about them. This will be the last time I talk about this franchise on this channel. Well, probably not. Probably not. Because I like to talk about every team. I like to talk about every team. Whether it's on here, on the Hoop Talk podcast, other platforms, TikTok, whatever. I like to talk about all teams. So, with that being said, let's get back to the video.
And he was just holding guys accountable. Now, how some of that talk was taken or interpreted, that's up for the players and the coaching staff that was involved and how they felt about it.
We'll leave it at that. Lou is saying that the reason he got sent home, because Chris Paul was vocal and critical of the team. Team is bad right now. I made a video just a week ago saying, hey, they're bad, but
the Clippers are like the second worst team in the West and like a bottom 5 team in basketball. Chris Paul is one of the most successful players in that locker room. He's been a better leader than James Harden and Kawhi. Allegedly, because again, I'm not in the locker rooms with them. But I don't understand where, because again, I'm not in the locker room, so I'm going off of what I hear. I don't understand where a guy trying to hold the team accountable for why they're one of the worst teams in basketball is a problem. And we'll get to the head coach. We will get to the head coach. Don't get me wrong. We're gonna get to the head coach.
don't worry. They'll right the ship at least a little bit. Don't worry. OKC's not about to have a top pick, and they've only done nothing but lose since then. They had a game a couple nights ago in Miami where the Miami Heat went on a 30-2 run. They were down by 38 points. And shout out to the Heat because they put that smackdown out. Shout out to Norman Powell for his revenge. But they've done nothing else but lose. So Lou Will says this. And no disrespect to Lou Will. You know, he's obviously still tapped into the Clipper organization and all, but I wanted just a little bit more confirmation, so I waited, and just a few minutes ago, Shams Charania confirmed it. Chris Paul and his leadership style clashed with the Clippers, sources tell ESPN. Paul had been vocal in holding management, coaches, and players accountable.
When do y'all think? When do y'all think the Clippers are going to be a champion? Because this didn't work. This did not work, ladies and gentlemen. I am here to tell you this did not work. This whole experiment did not work. And to be honest, I was on the side of this wasn't a bad move. You know, going out for Kawhi and Paul George was not a bad idea at the time. I promise you 100%. If the Clippers knew that 6 years later, the guy they traded away would be in talks with peak Kobe Bryant and peak Steph Curry, they wouldn't have done it. Just imagine if SGA was running around in a Clipper uniform. Thank God he isn't. Thank God he isn't. But just imagine. Thank God SGA not running around in a Clippers jersey. Ooh. Ooh. Giving my Lakers belt 6 times a year. Anyway, maybe 5 times a year. I really don't remember.
Which the team felt became disruptive, specifically Tyronn Lue, who was not on speaking terms with Paul for a few weeks. This is so insane. My wife used to say before, this is like my full-time job, that the NBA is like, I don't know, reality TV for people that used to play sports. This is a prime example of something like this. The head coach not being on speaking terms to one of his players is nuts.
That's so weird. That's so weird. By the way, this video is already 11 minutes long. We're 2 minutes into the video. That's so weird. Tyronn, yes, we're with you now. How are you the head coach of any basketball team and you're not speaking to players? Where do they do that at? Where do they do that at? And I'm going to tell you this. Any team that is serious about winning, they would have nipped that in the bud early. Imagine if Mark Dagnall and SGA weren't on speaking terms. Now, Chris Paul isn't to the level of SGA, but still, you catch my drift. Imagine if 2024, Joe Mazzulla and Drew Holiday weren't on speaking terms. You telling me my head coach and my starting point guard aren't speaking? Somebody higher up needs to go deal with that. Somebody higher up needs to put these two in a room and hash it out. We got winning to do.
Obviously, Chris Paul has not been good this season. He's year 40, but I don't.
He has not been good, though. Chris Paul has not been good at all. Boy, that man ain't getting to the rim.
I don't think many people expect him to be good. I don't think people expect him to be this bad. We're shooting like 30% from the field, 20% from three. Is really, really bad right now. But I think the thing that bothers me the most about this, and I'm trying to look at this from a level-headed perspective and not just try to immediately side with my GOAT because he is my GOAT, is that you knew who Chris Paul was as a guy. He has always been a dude that has been abrasive, maybe that's the wrong word. Been somebody that has been, I don't know, pretty stern with the way.
Yeah, I don't understand that. It's not like y'all don't know who Chris Paul is. He led your franchise for years. Am I missing something?
He's carried himself in the NBA. Former player or former teammates will tell you sometimes they didn't like JJ Redick and him on the same team. And JJ says we didn't like each other. Like, people have known this has been Chris Paul's style. So much so that even now, with him being one of the greatest point guards of all time, he's going through what should be somewhat of a farewell tour as he officially announces this is his last season. And people don't care. Because coaches, players, and even NBA fans have grown to dislike him because of some of his on-court antics. But the Clippers knew this. This motherfucker, he's the best player in franchise history. It is like, I'm assuming what he's doing right now, his leadership style, the way he's talking to the team, the way he's talking to coaches, is nothing new. He didn't just wake up at the age of 40 and say, I'm about to turn into a whole different dude. He's always been this way. So
Exactly. Thank you.
So you knew that when you signed him. There's been a lot of conversation about the Clippers, obviously, over the offseason with the aspirations and Kawhi Leonard and so on and so forth. And the one place that the Clippers had held their hat as far as getting the fans excited and trying to steer away from those stories, like, hey, our GOAT is back. Their whole offseason marketing was about the old man Chris Paul being back in the old threads. Thank God I ain't bought a jersey. I was this close. I was this close to buying that new jersey, and I didn't. So the whole market, even yesterday, or 3 days ago, hold on, let me pull it up. Dog, that community noted it. Just a few days ago, most of all, you know, I'm in a Clippers uniform. CP3 will end his Hall of Fame career at home. I should be laughing, but it's like I don't know any other way to react to it. The Clippers announced that Chris Paul is no longer part of the team. So just a couple days ago, every single other tweet that they've had was about like the game stuff. You know, the only tweet outside of just telling you, hey, we're losing basketball games has been about Chris Paul. And just a couple days later, he's gone. Now, again, the social team has nothing to do with what the top end management ever does. I, as somebody that knows people that run these accounts, they're not in the know about what the hell is going on. But it is still funny that's been their whole marketing this season. And he's just gone like that. God, these ads are crazy. This is just an article from Clutch Points. Not that these guys are the internet Bible when it comes to the NBA, but I just Googled greatest players in Clippers history. Just straight up. Number 1 is Chris Paul. Number 2 is Blake Griffin. Those two guys, right? After that, they got Bob McAdoo. They got
what
Kawhi.
happened with both of them? What happened with both of them? I don't think front offices realize other players are watching what you do to these players. You guys just cut the best player of your franchise's history on his farewell tour. What superstar is going to be like, hey, I want to go play for the Clippers?
Leonard, but the top two dudes, the two best players in their franchise history, both endings with the team is leaving a bad taste in the mouths of the players and the people that rooted for these people. Blake Griffin signed that big old contract where during the offseason they got him to sign to it. They had him up in the Raptors with like fucking Barack Obama. We want you to be a part of LA and forever. And then he gets traded a few months later. You have the clip where his first time back in LA, Steve Ballmer tries to walk over to him and he just gave him the cold shoulder. Like this is what you're doing to your franchise legends. Obviously, these dudes ain't win championships or win MVPs or so on, but it's the goddamn Clippers. They don't have championships. They don't have MVP caliber players other than Bob Mack.
They don't have championships. They don't have MVP caliber players. They don't have any of that because it's the Clippers. It's the Clippers. It is the Clippers. That's what it is. It's the Clippers.
I could do. So yeah, these are your GOATs, and you're doing this to them. It's nuts. And I feel for Clippers fans, right? Because everything I'm saying about this video is not about the fandom, because people always say the Clippers are cursed. And I think Clippers fans are cursed, if that makes sense. They are cursed to have to wear the badge of being a Clipper fan. Just like Browns fans are cursed to wear the badge to say, I am a Browns fan. But sometimes the organizational thing is not the curse. If you treat your franchise GOATs like trash, then maybe you're not unlucky. Maybe it's karma. And now let me just get back to Chris Paul here, because I mean, going into the season, he had the interview with Jamel Hill, where this is before he signed with the Clippers, where he's basically saying he wants to play one more season, but he wants to do it close to home. And the only two places that are close to home are the Lakers and the Clippers. Obviously, he goes back to the Clippers, and it's like kumbaya. He's last go around. And it's got me thinking, like, I've been seeing a lot of people like, Kenny, where do you want to see him go? The reality is, I don't know if he's going anywhere. I mean, we'd welcome it, right? We'd welcome if he signed with another team. But part of him going to the Clippers was not just because he saw them as a team that could compete for a championship and he could contribute to that, but because he was close to his family. He talked.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like, first thing I thought was go back to OKC. You still got some ties there. Shea there, Dort there. You know what I'm saying? Go pull up. Go win a championship, CP3. Go win a championship. Go win a championship, CP3. But he might not do that. He might just say, you know what? That's my career. And I know that sucks, man. Think about it. You give a game 20 years of your life for your last season to be cut by the team you were most successful with. I couldn't end my career like that. I could not end my career like that. I could not end my career like that. And it's not even like Chris Paul is like, no disrespect, Rajon Rondo. Like, Rajon Rondo's a great player, don't get me wrong, but it's like, Chris Paul is a top 5 point guard in NBA history. This is not just a point guard that won a championship and made a couple of All-Stars. Chris Paul is a top 5 point guard in NBA history. I could make the argument he's as high as top 3. So trying to sit here and tell me, no, bro, no.
Very openly.
I could understand if they cut Eric Bledsoe on his farewell tour. But Chris Paul? No, bro. No.
Out not being there for his kids in certain parts, and that's part of the job as an NBA player, right? But as you do it for 18 years, that at some point you want to be there. He wanted one last hurrah close to home, and now the team close to home told him no. So we may have seen the last bit of Chris Paul. And I hate when a legendary player has the end of their career like this, right? I mean, obviously, again, the on-court product was not very good for him. He was not good at all. But I would have loved for it to be on his own terms, right? Even him going out on Instagram and putting in his Instagram story, that is foreign to a guy like Chris Paul, right? He ain't like an NFL wide receiver that's using blank screens and text all the damn time to show how they're feeling right now. This is Chris. This is a 40-year-old man that's been in the league for a gazillion years. He was caught by surprise as much as we were. I think they're on a road trip right now. I think they're in Atlanta. So he's on a road trip, and he's like, you know what, bro? You can just take this flight back home. And though I didn't feel like something like this was about to happen.
Bogus. That is so bogus. That is so bogus, bro. That is so bogus. Like, that is bogus.
Again, I didn't buy the jersey. And I was waiting to the last week. Before I bought tickets to see Clippers versus Bulls in Chicago, because something about it, whether it been him not playing minutes or something about it just didn't feel right. So I was like, nah, I'm just not going to buy tickets until the last moment. And thank God, because I don't want to watch the goddamn Clippers versus the Bulls. Those teams suck. They're just bad. You know what I haven't done? I haven't looked to see how Clippers fans feel about this. Obviously, I'm doing this from the perspective of a Chris Paul fan and an NBA fan, but I'm very curious about the way the Clipper Nation is feeling. Because if you wanted to say Chris Paul underperformed, so he's getting waived, fine. But he's one of the best minds in the history of this sport. And it wouldn't be the first time we've seen somebody this old or in their 30s that's not good anymore hold a roster spot on the team to be veteran leadership. Udon did it for like the last 10 years of his career, dog. And it was beneficial to the younger dudes. And maybe it's the Clippers don't have many younger dudes, regardless. If these reports are true, is that him just trying to hold people accountable on a team that's ass, and they said, no, we don't do that around here, I think that shows more about the organization than it does for Chris Paul. Again, we don't know how Chris Paul delivered these messages because he is Chris Paul. He doesn't have a great way of doing these things at times. But if it was simply trying to make sure that people get back on defense, something they haven't done all season long, or simply trying to help Tyronn Lue, like, Tyronn, we know you are a smart NBA guy, a smart basketball mind, but Chris Paul is on the bench. Like maybe we should just consider some of the things that Chris Paul is saying. And for him to go, they'd have...
Maybe we should. It's too late now, but maybe they should have.
Going weeks without talking to each other. Because I don't want to use the word unheard of because we actually have heard this before in NBA history, but it's just few and far in between. I didn't know the best place to go for find what Clippers fans believe, so I went to Reddit. Obviously Reddit is not the best place to go for opinions and stuff, but the post is from 10 hours ago. It is just strictly the Chris Hayes report. And the top one says, damn, we don't even get a farewell tour this year, just thinking without sentimental value. Punish those that show loyalty like Norman Powell and Chris Paul. Norman Powell's another guy that just wanted to be a Clipper, and he's like, nah, we'd rather keep that money open for 2027. Is that the right decision, the wrong decision? So far this season,
yeah, because who are they going to get? Who are they going to get? Who are the Clippers going to get? Who are the Clippers going to get?
Knows by 2027 it might look like a good one. Can't even let the man retire in dignity. This incompetent ass franchise can't even do a farewell tour right. It's embarrassing. Please tell me it's a fake. Surely you can't release him during his retirement while on a minimum. That is another good point. Sending your franchise
that is another
go home.
Really good point. It ain't like you. Oh my God. So he is on a minimum. It's not even like this man is getting $15-20 million a year. He's on a minimum. Oh my God.
during the middle of a road trip is so Clippers. Again, this is the Clippers subreddit. This is not regular NBA stuff. These are legitimately all Clippers fans here. This is 10 hours ago, before there was any report about Tyronn Lue. Was Chris Paul being a cancer to the team, or was he just not buying into Tyronn Lue's crap, so they dropped him? Either way, it had been a really bad move to make like this. It seems like Clippers fans are fed up with Tyronn Lue as well, not just because of this, but because of the lack of success. And they believe that the NBA consensus about Tyronn Lue is not the way Clippers fans really feel, which I feel like happens a lot throughout the NBA, because at the end of the day, when you are a diehard fan, you're watching your team all 82 games, and other people don't watch them every single game. So some people may get the benefit of the doubt of being better than what they are, or the opposite of that. People think they're worse than what they are if you watch them every single game. I've thought that Tyronn Lue was a good coach over the last couple of years. The first couple of years, I didn't really think so. But maybe not. I don't know. So now that we got some more reports, I wonder what they feel now that we know a little bit of what happened. All right. These boys are going. So instead of making moves like firing Ty, they booted Chris Paul off the team. Done with this team. This man's username is "Why am I a fan of this team?" Maybe I should be on Reddit more often for these videos, bro. This is hilarious. His username is literally "Why am I a fan of this team?" He said they signed an outspoken personality, and are surprised he is outspoken. Literally what I said. That's what I said. Were they one of the worst teams in the league? This has been the exact problem with Ty's Clippers teams. They're too laid back, no urgency. He's not there to fire players up. He's there to be their friend and not overstep. Okay, all right. Well, it's an unfortunate situation for all parties, because nobody's gonna walk out of this looking good, right? Chris Paul's career might be over. Because even so right now they sent him home. They didn't waive him necessarily, and I was trying to read some reports. They have 14 roster spots. And hold on, let me find that tweet. Oh, never mind. There's another little report here from Chris. I don't know how I missed this one. Weeks ago, Chris Paul requested to have a meeting with Tyronn Lue to discuss allegations of being a negative presence on the team. Lue refused to meet with him. Lawrence Frank traveled to Atlanta to deliver the news of the parted ways. Paul's desired final season to be a Clipper. That's if this reads as true. Or is this as true as it reads? It's inexcusable. If you are supposed to be the head of the snake, the voice in the...
That's what I'm saying, bro. That's exactly what I'm saying, bro. Like, in the end of the day, this is a team that's trying to win. And they don't even have to be trying to win a championship. This team is trying to be competitive enough to make the playoffs, maybe win a first round series. And you telling me your head coach is refusing meetings? Are you kidding me? How old are we? God damn.
Leader of a team, and I'm talking about the head coach in Tyronn Lue, to refuse to meet with the player under any circumstances. It could have been something small. It could have been something large. Under any circumstances, as the guy that's supposed to be marching these dudes into battle every single night, to completely ignore a player is just unacceptable. And Lawrence Frank just bowing to Lue in this circumstance, instead of like, okay, in my mind, if Tyronn Lue does this and I'm in Lawrence Frank's position, I say, hey, I hear both of y'all, but I want y'all to get into a room and I'll be there. I'll mediate it all. And we still want to part ways, and we still want to get rid of Chris Paul, then sure. But there's no way we don't have the meeting, bro. That's nuts. And it seems, again, the way it's reading from Chris, professional Chris Paul's part, to say, hey, man, I see how y'all looking at me right now. Can we just talk about it? Can we just talk about it one good time and whatever? Ooh, I'm so upset. I'm so frustrated, bro. The Clippers were stuck at Miami Airport yesterday for nearly 6 hours due to mechanical issues, specifically today the teams arrived to Atlanta. Okay, that's not important. That's just them probably getting another L tonight. I mean, that's really what that boils down to. Oh, and also Ryan Windhorst just went on radio and said that Giannis asked for a trade already. What the hell is happening in our league, baby? We're getting some juicy stories. I just wish that my GOAT wasn't a part of it.
If you like this type of content, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure you follow me on Twitter at ATBSports1. Make sure you guys follow me on Instagram at @TheBuzzerSports_. And make sure you guys follow me on TikTok at @TheBuzzerENT. And with all that being said, everybody spam in the chat or spam in the comment section. The Clippers suck. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.